Hello, everybody. This is BJ Corvinus. It is Monday and Labor Day, the 4th of September 2017. I am here in front of a very beautiful park and lake, not far from where I live. Folks enjoying the outside. It truly is a day that the Lord has made. I wanted to address something today on the topic of gang-stalking. As strange as this topic may sound, it's needed today. Now, for some people, this may be a new topic. For others, it's not. It is a topic that can't be done in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's very detailed. But I don't have that kind of time today, so I just want to address a few things about it. Gang-stalking. It's a crime. The two words itself, gang, stalking, is a good indication that it's not something legal. The history goes way back from the dawn of time. It's not a new crime. But in the 20th century, it's taken on a whole different appearance. An appearance because our technology, as beautiful as it can be, what it can do in our lives or for our lives, but there's obviously another side. Technology that's happened, or what we know as technology right now, and this is my opinion, is technology mankind should never have had. I won't go into the whole history of that, but I will say from the time of Tesla into the 20th and worse in the 21st century, I believe technology today is one of the reasons when Jesus says that in the end times, there comes a time that there never was like it before, and nor shall it ever be. It's Matthew 24. Jesus gives a very detailed list about specific events that's going to happen during the end times, our times. These end times, very unique events will happen. Nowhere in history, in man's history, can come close. We can't even have a comparison. It was like this or like that. It was like Pearl Harbor. It was like the fall of Rome. No. There are unique terrors that scriptures, Old and New Testament, clearly indicate. And I believe that technology, though it has all these good sides to technology, good things it could be used for, it's another side of a coin here. And it isn't a small group. It's every person on this planet. I am using, even right now, my smartphone. And I will say this, that this shouldn't even exist. All those who made claims that they invented this and that chip, and I'm going to say this again as my own opinion, every one of them are liars. They didn't invent spit. This is demonic information allowed at this hour. God allowed Tesla, a man strongly demon-possessed, worshipped Buddha, strong into Hinduism, mysticism, died alone in a hotel, broke, spiritually raped, robbed, and sadly, I don't think it would be far-fetched to know that he's most likely in hell for rejecting Jesus Christ. Seduced by lying spirits. And the men of those ages, they call themselves captains of industry. Carnegie, Rockefeller, Vanderbilt, the list goes on. They are all as much of a fraud as Tesla. They were fools and still are fools. They're no different from me or you. They're no different from anybody else that rejected Jesus Christ. Choosing them was no different than choosing the guy or the woman next to him. They refuse to believe that because they think it's the great them, something in them. That's deception. These are the men who are allowed to go forward and build, well, what they deem as empires. The same ones today that whose descendants, these servants of Satan, who brag and boast either of their personal deity or they're trying to achieve godhood, the wealth, seeing themselves, so sad, as being enlightened. Deceivers who will go the way of all men and of all women, the grave. And the second they leave this planet without Christ is the second they'll know it's too late. But their voices that are going forth even now, these same voices promoting this satanic black carnival of technology, seducing the world with their 21st century Pied Piper, their song and their dance. And while everybody's gorging at their table, there are those who will not. Anyone that opposes these self-appointed generational fools that call themselves captains of industry, oh well, they have a file for them, and they will make sure that those oppose them, and they have a very detailed do this, do that, and if this happens, don't worry, we have this covered. One of those techniques is gang-stalking. And again, this I will say is my opinion, and I believe it's, as it being my opinion, an absolute fact that the number one victims of gang stalkings are born-again Christians. And why do I say that? Well, is it because I'm a born-again Christian? Yes. But I'm not just a born-again Christian. I'm also an NK slave. Have been for 53 years. This is not the video to go into my whole secret world. A secret world that many people online believe they have an understanding about, and they don't. They've learned a bunch of words and they feel they understand MK Ultra. Not realizing that the very sites that they're getting their Google education from is controlled by the very ones doing the crimes. Taken from my country of Hungary, kept here against my will My whole life has been gang stalked. Placed in a Roman Catholic school, St. Michael's in Providence, Rhode Island. Me and several other Hungarian children kept with American, the Bible has a good name for them, and I believe it still applies, vagabonds, spiritual parasites, pariah, liars who were making hand over fist and gang stalking money way back then. Gang stalking, making sure that the victim always looks wrong and the perpetrator always looks right. And it's done by a group collective. Except there's a side to gang stalking. These captains of industry and their agents they put in place. Some people align them with Hitler, the stormtroopers, brown shirts, these criminal bullies. I think that would be a good definition of today's gang stalker. It could be anyone, from the high rises of the Hilton to the campsites, campgrounds, trailer parks, to high-end elite houses, from Walmarts. An unredeemed man and woman are easily bought with money in the sense that they belong to a dark side now. They just put the noose on their own necks. You couldn't tell them that, but they become a part of a spiritual parasitic team of criminals. Criminals who want everybody to feel and believe they are the all-seeing eye, this triangle with the eye. I shared at Temple Baptist Church there in Knoxville, Tennessee, Pastor Charles Lawson, my testimony. I spoke for several minutes and gave a thumbnail. I will be loading that up here soon enough, but it is online. Look under, I believe he was teaching on Leah in the Old Testament, and I speak after him. And I exposed being an MK slave, holding a testimony for over 50 years. Was it a lack of trying to escape? No. I lived in the world in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s that the language of trafficking or ritual crimes didn't even exist clinically or legally. And even if it did, as it's starting to now, and again, from my own personal experience, 99.9 of every place that allows itself, it tells of, we help victims of trafficking, are outright liars. Especially if they call themselves a Christian ministry. These are CIA satanic fronts to capture runaway slaves. If a runaway slave goes to a hospital because they've been beaten, raped, and tortured, guess what kind of doctor and staff is going to be sent to that client? This really isn't hard to believe because of the God of this world. This is what the Bible calls spiritual warfare. So, Satan placing his servants in every vocational position on this planet, medical, clinical, political, industrial, academic, absolutely. Everything here from media to, I love the word entrepreneur because you could almost get the word manure. Yeah. He has placed his key people in it. And Satan Now he's and his servants are all angels of light. Sort of looks like the good guy. Takes a form, says all the right things, and even uses Christian language, or it may use a socialistic language, or wherever you are in this world, he'll conform. He uses the language of muddy waters and deception, the false sense of right and good. The deception of being Arthur and the knights. The sense of any sense of God, it's the Catholic version. The Roman Catholic Church version of some type of cathedral and some strange, usually short little fat man in the back with a strange little hat in his head. Blessing. The whole thing is stage. They all work for the same liar. Well, that hasn't changed in the 21st century. So this may be new for some people, and for others it isn't. But let me testify to this in laying this all out. There is another side to gang stalking that needs to be known. Victory. What is that victory? Well, I can tell you. There is truly power in the name of Jesus. Jesus Christ, the Bible. And let me make this clear. Sorcerers and false Christians and witches and all these sodomites, they think Jesus like the satanic masons and the Kabbalists and these mystics, these sages of Buddhism hiding up there in Kathmandu and raping the unconscious mind by understanding deep levels of trance states and creating a new type of slave cage in the brain. They'll use the name itself of Jesus as like a magical amulet, talisman. But that's not Jesus of the Bible.